What's happening, guys? It's another episode of Let's Talk Sports NBA series. All right, listen. Normally, I do my podcast inside on Saturdays, but today I wanted to, give y'all the beautiful nature. It's actually a pretty sight. I'm at a park where my child plays at. It's pretty cool. Now that means I'm gonna be fighting off bugs and gnats and all kinds of stuff. So I hope y'all can just bear through that. Because I really, really got a good show planned for you. Saturday is kind of like the show where Let's Talk Sports kind of let me just express what's on my mind. They allow me to just be free and talk about some of the things that I think is relevant to what's going on in the sports world today, and it's a good thing. But before I get started with that, obviously every show I start off with something that's on my chest, and this is just something on my chest. I hope I'm able to relay this to you the way I feel, and you don't take it because sometimes my personality could be more aggressive, abrasive, bully type, and that's just really not the type of person that I am. But I get so intense on what I'm talking about, people sometimes perceive me the wrong way. I said all that to say this. Someone asked me the other day, do I feel how do I say it? I'm just gonna say it how they said it. They asked me, did I feel embarrassed to ask for donations on social media? And it kind of struck me a little bit because I was like, embarrassed. Number one, first of all, nobody should feel embarrassed about asking for help. That's number one. Number two, I I ask for donations because obviously we have a vision and we need help, and our everything that we do is audience based. Everything that we do is fan based. So one of the biggest reasons why I like asking for help is because it teaches me to be humble. It teaches me to say, "Hey, it's okay to say you need help." Because believe me when I tell y'all, the work that goes into this show, I cannot stress enough. And as for any podcast or anybody who's dealing with some type of podcast or social media event, they can all attest to this. It's a lot of time. It's it's a lot of time. It's a lot of work. It's a lot goes on behind the scenes that you don't see. And when that happens, when you run into an issue that's a technical issue, I can promise you the majority of the time, the only thing can fix that technical issue is money. And you have to so therefore, so what we do is my wife and I, my wife truly believes in the show and what I'm doing, and she actually thinks I'm kind of good at it. I think I'm okay. Um, but sh- sh- but she got with me and said, "Hey, look, we can DoorDash to make up some of the difference of the money that the show needs because the show is just a baby. So since it's a baby, anybody who've had children before can understand that. Or even if a person has a pet, can understand if they had that pet as a puppy or they had that child as a baby. You have to give that child or that pet a lot of attention, a lot of teaching, a lot of time, and it's a lot goes in it. So I to answer that question to the person asked me, did I feel embarrassed? No, I don't feel embarrassed to ask for help because when you're looking at something from the ground floor and you see the vision of where the show is going and what you want from the show, guys, it's okay to ask for help. Just imagine this: if you can ask for help and not be judged by it, how many people would ask for help? Most people don't ask for help because they don't want to be judged by it. Uh, it, it, it it's not how I don't believe that's how it should be. It shouldn't be that you're embarrassed to ask for help. I don't care what it is. Because believe me when I tell you, every person needs help. I was looking at a post the other day and somebody posted that the reason they work hard is so they don't have to ask anybody for anything. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a criticism. It's but it's not it's also not how the world is designed. If you think about it, and if you're a Christian, If you think about it, the way it's designed is everybody supposed to help everybody. Now, society is not like that, but it is supposed to be that way. So that's why when I see podcasters or I see creators on social media, I always bring them to my page. If it's something that I enjoy or something that I like, I introduce it to my audience as well because I know the work they put in behind that. That creativity is a constant mental drain on your brain. Not to mention the work that you have to put in the production of that creativity. Believe me when I tell you, Let's Talk Sports needs your donations. We do, but that doesn't mean that the show is going to end or we hanging on by a thread. No, that's not what that's saying. What that's saying is we want to progress the right way. We want to do this the right way. So I say all that to say this. I'm not ashamed to ask for help on social media. I would wish more people would give a helping hand, but I can't make people give a helping hand. And I'm not mad at them if they don't give a helping hand. But if you cannot help us financially, a share or like, all of that plays its role. We thank you in advance. Now let's get on with the show. Well, if you're watching the NCAA, well, let me say this first. For those of y'all who are just joining this show, for those of y'all who are just jumping on and trying to figure out exactly what we're talking about or where this is going, we're going to talk about some basketball today. And we're going to be talking about basketball all the way up until the Western Conference Final, Eastern Conference Final, and the championship. Just like the NCAA championships, we're going to talk about that as well. We're going to give y'all as much content about basketball as we possibly can. And the first thing we want to start off with is Iowa and LSU. Okay. I had LSU going to the Final Four. I had LSU playing South Carolina in the championship. One problem though, there's a girl out there, a young lady by the name of Caitlin Clark, and she had a difference of opinion. She decided that she was going to play one of her best games and pushed Iowa over the hump, and they beat South Carolina. So now it's LSU and Iowa. Watching these two teams play, who do they match up well? They match up really, really good. So what is this going to come down to? Who's going to win this game? I'm going to give you my take on it. Now, if you don't agree, just put something down in the comments. I won't be taking care of comments right now, but later on during the day, I will be answering comments and commenting back. So feel free to put your comments in there. But I'm just going to give you my take on it. If you watch the South Carolina Iowa game, yes, a lot of people see that Caitlin Clark put on a show. She was the person of the game. But I think a lot of you missed some things. South Carolina made a lot of mistakes on defense, especially guarding the pick and roll and that person releasing to the basket. They let that person go every single time. It made it so easy for Caitlin. Just to throw the ball inside and let them get a layup. They also got lazy on transition basketball, and that's why Caitlin Clark could get the ball over their head. I mean, they made it somewhat easy for her, even though the game was close, which shows you if they would have fixed that problem, South Carolina probably would have won that game. But they couldn't fix the problem. They really couldn't handle the screening roll. They could not handle the pick and roll. They couldn't handle any of that. It's like they didn't understand that, hey, look, we have to switch off. We have to switch off. When they put this play in, you have to switch off. And you have to communicate with each other so you can tell you that, hey, we're switching off. Here's another problem they ran into. They underestimated her range. Yeah, this girl's good from about 33. She good from 33 feet, maybe 34. I mean, me personally, I'll be uncomfortable somewhere around 40. I just would guard her all the time. I mean, I would make every shot that she had difficult because she gives me a smaller version or a woman's version or a college version of Steph Curry. Very difficult to guard because of the range. Not to mention she has good ball skills. Now, anybody who watched basketball would know what I'm talking about at this point. The only way you can stop a score like that is it's really just two ways. You're not going to stop her from scoring. So just get that out of your head. So the two ways that you can stop that girl is boxing one her. That'll slow her down. That won't stop her. It will slow her down. Or you got to say, someone else got to beat us, but it will not be you. Those are the only two ways you can stop a score like that. And if you think I'm playing, go back to any pure score, any pure shooter in basketball. And these are the things that coaches use to contain them. They can't stop. I'm sorry I keep doing that because I got gnats that just won't leave me alone. But coaches know when you got a scorer like Caitlin Clark, you can't stop them, but you can contain them and make the other team, the other part of her team, have to work. Stop everybody else. Let her do her thing. Make her try to beat you 5-on-1. Or you can box in one her, but if you box in one her, you have to watch out because she has other people on that team that she can go to that can cause problems. That's why I say my strategy would be simple. Caitlin, you can get yours, but ain't nobody else getting theirs. I watched a while back, this is a long time ago. I keep telling y'all I'm an old man. It's a long time ago, but I remember the Lakers were playing against the Detroit Pistons and Magic Johnson, Byron Scott, everybody was out. It was just James Worthy. Really, he was the bona fide scorer. He was the one doing his thing. And I watched Detroit say, hey, you know what? We're going to let James get his. And James ended up getting 42, but it wasn't enough. We're going to let him get his, but we're not going to let anybody else get theirs. So therefore, it's 1 against 5. That's what LSU has to do. What do I believe? I believe, hey, LSU have 5 strong, consistent players on their court, and they're gonna need all 5 to be Iowa. They're gonna need every single, so all hands on deck. That's the way they beat Iowa. You go man to man. You do not zone, because if you zone it, it's gonna pick you apart. Man to man, straight up in your face. We're gonna cover you all day long. You keep the rotations coming. You find when you see it, they have a advantage, and you have a mismatch. You adjust to that. But if you try to go to a zone, this girl is just gonna pick you apart. So you have no other choice but to go man to man. That's just my thoughts on what LSU do. If LSU should do now. If LSU do these things, or they come up with some type of scheme, they're national champions. Last thing I'm gonna say about this LSU Iowa thing, and I want to switch more to LSU now. I always tell you guys on football, basketball, no matter what sport I'm watching, I see things that some people don't see. And because most people are just so glued to the court and what's going on the court. I watch things off the court as well. There was an interview given by Angel Reese, and God forgive her, she slips my mind right now, probably because I'm just doing my podcast. But the point guard for LSU, she's a senior. If I'm not mistaken, she's the only senior on the team. And I listened to Angel Reese in the interview say, we're doing this for you. We're doing this for you. Because Angel Reese and them know they still got years to come. This girl, this may be her last basketball game of her career. And they want to send her out as champion. That is the inspiring part about LSU. Because everybody who know me know I'm not an LSU fan, but I am cheering for these girls wholeheartedly. And it's nothing against Iowa. I think Iowa is a great team. It's just something about a team being the first time a team making it to the national championship. They may not never make it again. I mean, I'm just going to go on a limb and say Iowa will be back. LSU will be back, but maybe not to this point. We never know in these things. So that's one of the inspiring things that I have that makes me want to cheer for LSU. And I wish all those girls luck. Everybody can't win, but I hope everybody play to the best of their ability, and whoever wins, and everybody walk away shaking hands saying it was a great game. I'm going to take LSU in this game because I believe LSU can do it. That's just my take on now. I had a good friend of mine asked me, how can you be having your show Saturday and you're not going to talk about the men's Final Four? I'm not going to talk about the men's Final Four because everybody's going to talk about the men's Final Four. But if you want to know who I'm going to pick, watch out for Miami. Why am I saying that? Because remember, this whole thing started with nobody picking Miami. And ever since then, Miami has been on a roll. As soon as their coach said, nobody's picking us. I pick up on things like that. That means he's using it as motivation. So that's all I'm gonna say on the men's. It's gonna be fun to watch. But my heart and soul right now is in the women. Okay. For anybody who's just jumping on, we just covered LSU and Iowa, and I want to cover it because I seen some things in the Iowa South Carolina game that I think LSU can capitalize on, and hopefully they do. But now I want to go into something that nobody else is talking about. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why. Am I the only one that can see this? Am I the only one? Am I so bold to say I'm the only one that can see this? Me? Is anybody else other than me? If you can see this, please put it in the comments. But how can y'all be looking over the Pelicans? I mean, how in the world are nobody seeing what I see when it comes to the Pelicans? I mean, okay, for those of y'all who haven't followed basketball, I'm gonna just break it down for you. In the beginning of the year, now basketball is a long season, long season. In the beginning of the year, the New Orleans Pelicans were dominating. They were one of the best teams in the NBA. If at one time they actually were the best team in the NBA. So as the season goes on, they suffer some injuries. One particular injury is Zion, but they suffer some injuries. And it's like everybody just forgot about them. I mean, you think about it, you suffer an injury with Zion, then later on you suffer an injury with Ingram. That's two of your high scores. Those two of your what I call automatic 2 points. And when that happens, the team suffers. So everybody just kind of wrote them off. They start losing games, and all of a sudden they just are not even thought of anymore. Well, you don't get to that point if you're not good. It's not a fluke that the Pelicans was up there. It's not a fluke that they were doing their thing. It was real because they are good. Okay, so you think that all of a sudden they just stopped being good? No, 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 no. These guys haven't stopped being good. Let me explain something to y'all. For those of y'all who are listening to this podcast, you are totally, totally, totally underestimating the New Orleans Pelicans. The reason why I wanted to do the NBA playoff series was simple. I wanted to show people a different perspective on the NBA. And one of them is we look at, well, I don't, but most people look at different shows about the NBA. And what they don't understand is that show is produced by someone, and that person normally decides who they're gonna talk about. So everything gets lost in translation. Um, and the Pelicans is one of those teams. OKC is another one of those teams too, but we're not talking about OKC today. But the Pelicans get lost in translation because Zion is gone, Ingram was gone, they wasn't winning, so everybody just kind of forgot about them. Well, here's my prediction, and I want y'all to hear me well when I talk about this. That the Pelicans can make the playoffs without Zion. They don't need Zion. That should tell you something right there. They do not need Zion to make the playoffs. Nowhere, no, they don't. The type of basketball that they're playing right now, Zion is not needed. Now, yes, they lost the game to Golden State, and then they beat Denver without the Joker. But when I watched that Denver game, I wasn't watching it, so to speak, to say, "Oh, the Pelicans is better than the Nuggets," because the Joker. Well, listen, if the Denver Nuggets If the Denver Nuggets, yeah, okay, Denver is the number one seed. Let's give them that. Let's give them their credit because they deserve it. But I tried to tell you guys in the NCAA tournament that it doesn't matter what seed you are, and it definitely don't matter in the professional round. Why do I say that? Because the Denver Nuggets, without Joker, they look disoriented. They need Joker in there distributing passes and creating for them. Well, New Orleans don't need that. They don't need you to create jack. See, what New Orleans have is what I call ISO ball to the max because they have so many people that can go ISO on you. They can, and Ingram. I don't know if y'all didn't notice it, but Ingram is almost automatic 15 to 17 feet, almost automatic. Every time he pulls up, I'll be like, bucket, bucket. I'm actually surprised when he missed. You can tell this guy really works on his 15, 17-foot game. By the way, for all those kids out there playing basketball, I know you like shooting 3-pointers, but the 15 to 17-footer, they can score points that way too. Ingram has mastered the art of mid-range basketball. His lanky body, the long arms, and his fall-away shot makes him difficult to guard. Now, it's easy to key on him like Golden State did. They started running 2, 3 people at him, right? Now, the Pelicans need to unleash McCullough because he needs to start doing his thing too if they're going to go deep into the playoffs. But if you're going to stop Ingram, if you're going to double or triple team Ingram while Zion is not there, if that's your strategy, you'll probably lose. The Pelicans are really that good. A lot of people can score. So, not to mention they got a kid over there that can shoot the lights out of a 3-pointer. I'm just telling you right now, they got all the pieces. But in order for them to go deep in the playoffs, they're going to need Zion. They're going to need him. Now, let me explain to y'all what Zion brings to the table. I would say Draymond Green is one of the best defenders in the game right now. There's a lot of them. It's not just Draymond. That kid Anderson from Minnesota, he's a great defender. I mean, you have a lot of great defenders out there. There's not one person that can stop Zion one-on-one. If you can find one, let me know. Because if Zion is healthy, if he comes back healthy, stays healthy throughout the playoffs, they're going deep in the playoffs. I'm talking Western Conference Finals. Because I know if you ISO Zion on anybody, it's a wrap. Why do I say it's a wrap? Because the team has to adjust to his ability to take anybody to the goal. And since he can take anybody to the goal, that leaves wide open 3-point shooters. And I'm sorry, you think about any championship team, with the exception of the Lakers when they won during COVID, I don't really count that, but any other championship team. And what did they have? They had an ISO player that can literally light you up, right? They have a 3-point specialist. Now, we're not talking about Golden State. They're a freak of nature. They're a little different. But most cases, you got an ISO player that can go one-on-one. You can't stop him. Zion can't be stopped. Now, you got to key on Zion, which means Ingram is lighting you up. If you get McCullough going, now you have 3. And you add the kid to shoot the 3-pointers, now you got 4. 4 gets you to the Western Conference Finals. 4, not 3. It's going to take 5 or 6 to get you to the championship. And we're talking about on a consistent basis. So why am I saying all this? Because it's lining up like the Pelicans are going to play the – God, I'm sorry, guys. It's lining up like the Pelicans are going to play the Nuggets. If the Pelicans play the Nuggets, your bracket, your NBA bracket is destroyed because the Pelicans are going to beat the Nuggets. You think I'm kidding? You think I'm crazy? You're probably watching this podcast. I'm like, this dude is straight up on drugs. Actually, I'm not on drugs, but the people over there, they're really lighting up over here. So maybe I'm getting a contact. I don't know. But what I can say is, if the Pelicans play the Nuggets in the first round with Zion, they're going to beat the Nuggets. And if you want to know my logic, it's simple. That means that you're going to have to put Joker on Zion. Anybody who knows basketball knows that you take scoring away from a scorer when you make him play a lot of defense. And he gonna have to play. And if you don't put Joker on Zion and you put somebody else on it, you definitely don't want to put Murray or no you don't Murray's a guard anyway. So you don't want to put none of that stuff on nobody. So what happens, right? So now you kind of start, well, if you ever figure Zion out and you can get him stopped, now you got to deal with Ingram. Look, the Pelicans are real, and they don't try to outscore anybody. They actually play defense too. Their transition basketball is on point. Their transition defense is on point. Their coaching is on point. They're just under the radar because everybody is talking about everybody else. Because in sports, who you going to talk about? You're going to talk about who everybody wants to hear. They want to hear the Lakers with LeBron. They want to hear Golden State with Steph Curry. They want to hear the Clippers, and just to have a storyline, they want to talk about Kawhi, who nobody knows who will ever play. If he'll play, maybe he will, maybe he won't. I mean, you want to talk about all the different things on these different teams, so you don't really hear nothing about the Pelicans. Well, I'm telling you here on Let's Talk Sports, the Pelicans are going to shock some people, and it's going to change the whole dynamics of the playoffs. Remember, last year, the Pelicans made the playoffs through the play-in and gave Phoenix all kinds of hell. I still, to this day, put the win for the Dallas Mavericks against the Phoenix Suns on the Pelicans. The Pelicans beat Phoenix up. So when the Phoenix went to the next series, they wasn't the same Phoenix. That's why they went and got KD. They didn't have anybody else to fall back on. Call me crazy. Say that guy from Let's Talk Sports is on drugs. Do whatever you want to say. But give me my props when I'm right. Because I notice in football, a lot of people didn't give me my props. But that's okay. I'm going to keep doing what I do. And hopefully you guys will catch on. But I'm just telling you right now, the Pelicans are going to shock some people. I hope you guys hear this and put this in the comments because I really want to know what you think about it. I want to know if anybody can say they just totally disagree. I don't. If the Pelicans will get in and they're going to shock some people. And yes, Zion will come back. So it's going to be interesting. Now, for those of y'all who are just jumping on, let me tell you what you missed. You missed me talking about the NCAA tournament with LSU and Iowa. The women's basketball, it seems to be a little bit more exciting to me than the men's right now. Don't ask me why, but it is. I've also talked about the Pelicans, how everybody's underestimating the Pelicans. They are truly underestimating the Pelicans. I'm telling you, they are. And you're going to see as time go on, you're going to see this guy may know a little bit. And remember, the other night I told you guys on the Thursday night podcast that watch, the Pelicans are going to beat Denver in Denver, and they did just that. Oh, they didn't have the Joker. It didn't matter. They're going to beat them anyway. I just don't think Denver is as good as everybody giving them credit for it. That's just me. Now, the next team that I would talk about, other than the Pelicans, this is my other team. It's been my team since the We Believe era. Just love the underdog. And at this time, the underdog at that time was Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, small, streak shooters. They had a lot of different criticisms. And now they're considered one of the best teams ever assembled. And yes, I got to be crazy. I hear every single person saying that the Golden State Warriors will not make the Western Conference Finals without Wiggins. I'm going to hold my thoughts on that one. And the reason why I'm going to hold my thoughts on that is because if you ever underestimate a champion, then that's when you get your feelings hurt. And if you're a gambler, you lose your money. I don't underestimate champions. I don't care who they are. I just don't do it. It just kind of reminds me of the Golden State year, kind of remind me of the same year that Kansas City had 2 years ago when everybody was saying that they were done, they were through, and they were still in the AFC Championship. And this has that same feel because Golden State they're not playing great basketball. They struggled with San Antonio last night. I mean, when you look at them, you're like, they don't play nowhere near the defense And not only that, you're listening to the analyst and the person calling the game, and they're telling you, oh, they're slipping on this defensive play, they're slipping on that. When I watch Golden State, this is what I see. I see boredness. I see it's almost like they're waiting on something. Every game that you watch, I mean, really, Golden State starts off behind. It takes something to get going. I mean, it's that's just those are signs of that's not a sign of talent. That's a sign of boredom. Um, I have yet to see Golden State just take it to somebody, and I don't expect to see Golden State take it to somebody. I don't think they're the type of team. I think everybody can play with them. I think it'll always be close. But the difference is when it's on the line. That championship pedigree comes out, and they find ways to beat you that has nothing to do with basketball. The Pelicans, I was watching, and I'm not jumping back and forth. I'm still talking about Golden State for those who have jumped in. The Pelicans, when they play, I watched McCullough podcast, and him and Temple was talking about what happened in the Golden State game. And I love the fact that they was like, look, these people, they know how to play. They are champions. They know how to beat you. A champion has been in enough close games when it was all on the line so many times. And what happens is it just it just seeps into their soul. So even if they're down by 20 points and 9-minute mark of the third quarter, it's not bothering them. They don't let it rattle them. It rattled them for what? Because they came back many, many times like that. So therefore, it doesn't rattle them. Golden State Warriors are a championship team in every way. It doesn't matter if the big three is on the court, they have a chance to beat you. It doesn't matter what team that they play against. Now, somebody was, well, that will hold true. That will hold true to Denver. That will hold true to the Clippers. Or that will hold true. No, I watched. I mean, you watched it too. Last year, when Golden State played Denver in the playoffs, Joker needed help. It was too many weapons. And now that Joker got his weapons back, it's not enough weapons. And like I said, I don't even think they can get past the Pelicans because of the weaponry. Golden State, if you prepare for them, you'll say, okay, let's stop Steph Curry. Good luck with that. You're probably not going to stop Steph Curry. So what are you going to do? You're going to say, okay, we're going to stop Klay Thompson. Well, that may work. But if you stop Klay, somebody else will just step up. They're just that kind of team. And the funny thing about it is everybody said, let's stop Steph Curry, let's stop Klay Thompson, let's stop Jordan Poole, let's stop those are the gunners, those are the ones that you're gonna stop. Well, you might want to stop Looney from getting all them rebounds and giving them extra chances. You might want to box out because Looney is underrated. And I say that underrated because you look at Looney like, does he score? No, he's the trash man. He's the one that get them hard rebounds. He's the one that go diving on the floor for the ball. Every team needs a player like that. And you look around, how did Golden State win the championship last year? Because Looney kept getting extra shots. And he's doing it again this year. And it's almost like he knows that the playoffs came because he's kind of starting to exercise his right to get all the rebounds right now. I'm just going to get all the rebounds. You know what? When we suck and we have a horrible field goal percentage, I'm just going to keep getting rebounds so we can get shots. They never rattle. Any situation that you name, they've been in it. They've been in it now. Am I saying Golden State going to win it all? No. I'm not even telling you that Golden State going to the championship. What I'm saying is you underestimate Golden State to go to the Western Conference Finals. Man, they live in the Western Conference Finals. That's easy to get to for them. It ain't easy to get to for the Clippers. It's not easy to get to the Western Conference Finals for the Nuggets. That's not easy for Memphis. I mean, all these teams that everybody's saying so much better than them, these teams ain't never been to the Western Conference Finals. It ain't gonna be easy for the Pelicans. If the Lakers get in, it ain't gonna be easy for the Lakers. Yeah, LeBron has been to the Western Conference Finals and Eastern Conference Finals, but that don't mean he can do it this year. because you still have to make a way to get past Golden State. Now, so what am I picking? So that means I got to be picking this, huh? I got to be picking the Pelicans versus the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. Oh, I know there's somebody out there right now telling me this dude is on drugs. This dude is crazy. He got to be. What is wrong with this guy? It's nowhere in the world that he's seeing this. Nowhere in the world. Well, I'm gonna repeat myself and let me put the filters in for you guys. The Pelicans will make the playoffs without Zion. When Zion comes back, they'll make a deep run in the playoffs, probably to the Western Conference Finals. Golden State has a championship pedigree. And not only do they have a path that may lead them, the easiest path to them is through Memphis. Why? Because Memphis talk a lot of noise. They try to bully everybody, but the truth of the matter is they choke every year in the playoffs. And for some strange reason, ain't nothing changed about their team, but people believe that this is their year. Well, what's different? They still got the same people. They know Golden State know how to beat you. So if Memphis runs to Golden State, they're going to get eliminated again. However, there is a nugget off in there for the Phoenix Suns. KD got to be respected. But again, if that path is through the New Orleans Pelicans, yeah, Phoenix don't match up well with them. Aiken is too inconsistent. So I'm going to tell you that the Golden State Warriors and the New Orleans Pelicans are going to the Western Conference Finals. Now, what I'm not telling you is to put your money on that. I ain't going to tell you to do that because I'm not 100% sure yet. I need to know what's going to happen with Wiggins. I need to know what's going to happen with Zion. But from what I see right now, it's going that direction. And the odds are very, 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 very slim that I'm right. Which means you gamblers out there, if you take this and you win, you're going to win a lot of money. Okay. Let me recap this show for you guys. We went through the LSU hour. We went through the New Orleans Pelicans. We went through the Golden State Warriors. Now, before I close the show, I want to say I give a big thank you, big appreciation to all the people who followed me on the NFL draft series. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. But there won't be any videos on the NFL draft series anymore simply because the only thing left now is the draft. So with that being said, Let's Talk Sports is actually trying to go live during the NFL draft. If everything works out, we don't know just yet, but I'm going to keep y'all updated on it. If everything works out, we're going to broadcast from the Embassy Suites. It's going to be really, really cool because you're going to hear my take on what they're saying about the players. But wait, there's a catch in there. There's a catch. The draft starts on a Thursday. Thursday night. That's the first round. I don't want to broadcast on the first round because, okay, everybody's going to broadcast on the first round. I mean, and let's just be honest. The first round hadn't been doing the NFL too much justice lately. I'm going to say the most important part to me is the second round. So we're going to try to do that, and we're going to try to do the second round, and we're going to try to shine some light on why the second round is just as important as the first round. That's another upcoming event. I also have a series. Hold on, guys. I also have a series that has dropped today. I have a series that has dropped today on YouTube, and it's called Sports and DoorDash Chronicles. It's just me being funny. Some of the things that I see DoorDashing, and I want you guys to check it out because I do have some funny videos. There's some funny scenarios that you guys are, I think, going to enjoy. And the next show that we do, which is Thursday night, for those who know, it's Thursday night, 7:00 Central Time. We're gonna break down the NCAA tournament, guys and girls. We're gonna just talk about it just a little bit. We're gonna talk about who I believe is gonna match up in the playoffs of the NBA. And we're also going to do what I call a different type of segment we're gonna break down why I believe Ja Morant, as good as he is, and Ja Morant, if you ever see this, I'm not saying that you ain't the man, because you are the man. I mean, you a highlight film every time you touch the ball. But I don't believe I believe you are more of a hindrance right now, especially a hindrance to the Memphis Grizzlies than you are help. When you got suspended, you came back and you are spending a lot of time trying to prove yourself, which is something you shouldn't have to do. Just play within the system. But I've always, and here's what's funny, I have always felt that way since Memphis built a team. And I'm going to go through why I believe that Ja Morant would actually do better somewhere else other than Memphis. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. Don't start that rumor. I'm just saying if he was at another team, I'm not going to tell you the team. You got to watch the show Thursday night. He'll do so much better. Because if you haven't seen, the Grizzlies actually play better without him. I'm just saying. And we're going to go through all that Thursday night. Right now, just to end the show, I want my producer to say hello. Man, if you want to come on and say hello to everybody, it would be great. Then we can end this show. Huh? He's coming on, guys. I promise you. And I'm fighting Nets. Oof.
There we go, yo.
Here we
What's the
go.
scenario? What happening?
What's up?
What's
What's happening,
good?
man?
All good.
Look, you told me about this. You got excited when I told you I wanted to do the Ja Morant thing and tell everybody how Ja Morant could possibly fit in on another team. What's your take on that? You think he's doing too much? You think it's the team? You think it's the system? Or you think it's him?
Well, right now I just think he's kind of a distraction, or he is distracted, whatever way you want to take it. With everything that's going on in his personal life or on the sidelines or whatever the case may be. And I think if he gets that together, well, I say if he gets that together, he's already proven himself to be, a threat on the basketball court. You know what I'm saying? But if he really gets that together, he has a chance to really be like a true superstar. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that. I mean, the guy's real. I mean, like I say every time he touches the ball, he's a human highlight film. I mean, he's amazing. His legs are so freaking strong, and he can leap out the gym. But you're 100% right, man. You're right when you say um, it's up to him. Basically,
Yep.
it's just totally up to him. What direction he goes is totally up to him. Also, you was excited, man. You was also excited that we switched to basketball. Um, I had to wait to the playoffs. I mean, I had to because the regular season was just boring. I mean, it's just boring to me. I mean, because then we can I say why it's boring to me? Because everybody be like, "What do you mean it's boring?" Can I say it?
Yep.
You you never know who gonna play.
Pretty much. And
I
that's it.
mean, I mean, like I was like trying to watch the Clippers, right?
Yep.
And Kawhi was just coming off injury. I think he played like 4 or 5 games in a row, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to watch Kawhi. He got the rust off. This, and then I come to watch the Clippers game, and he's out again.
I'm about to say I think that's the case with a lot of teams, but I think especially now deep into the season and closer to the playoffs, I think it's definitely getting more interesting. A little bit more so in the West than the East to me, because with the East, it's a pretty clear hierarchy of where everybody is. I mean, the Bucks and the Celtics, they pretty much ran away with it pretty early. The Cavs kind of stepped in and all of that good stuff. But we were talking about it in the West. It's still pretty much anybody can get it at this point. Cause I think everybody from like number 4, so I think number 13 are all within like 3, maybe 4 games within each other. So I mean, in the West, every game is crucial right now. So it's exciting in the West, and it can definitely get interesting for a lot of teams.
And you know what? You bring that up. Well, I was looking at that last night, the standings in the West,
Mm.
and I was saying to myself, "Don't lose, don't lose." Like, please win out because if you don't win out, there's a good chance you're gonna be in the play-in or just totally eliminated. I mean, because you're right, it's dead close. And you said four, and no four is 2 to 3 games. I
Yeah,
mean, like, I
like
mean,
tops, like.
So I mean, like 2 to 3 games with maybe 4 or 5 games left.
Yep.
It's one of the most exciting things. Now, I'm gonna say this, and even though this wasn't part of the show, that's why I hope people watch it to the end. But I gotta ask you this: did you see that butt whooping that Boston put on Milwaukee?
Man, look, I'll say, look, it's been tight across the board. It's just
You know what you
man,
do? You know what was so scary about the whooping? If you watch the first quarter and a half, they were really going at it, right?
right.
But Boston started just I know it had to be 6 or 7 possessions that they scored on every single possession. I mean, it was like Milwaukee was just moving in sand. I don't care what nobody say, man. I didn't watch that. I watched it live. I watched it on replay on YouTube 3 times just to see if I was seeing what I was seeing. Man, Milwaukee looked old. They
Yeah,
looked old.
yeah.
They
They
looked
better
like me
come up
trying to
with an
chase
answer
you around.
if they're gonna make their little run.
I mean, so I honestly believe my favorite in the East is Boston. That's why I don't even talk about them. I don't even talk about the East. That's my. You got 3 teams. If some people say 4 with Miami, let Miami get in the playoffs first before I say. But even if they do, like I said about, just like I said about Memphis, they're the same people. It's the same team. You came up short last year, and now you're struggling this year. So no, Boston, they look they look like they want to go to a champ. They look like they want to win a championship. They don't. I mean, like not just go. They look like they want to win.
They want
So
the whole thing.
the whole thing. And right now, I gotta say that Boston is a big favorite to come out of the East. Unless they get some kind of major injury or something like that, I don't I don't see anything changing. I just don't think Milwaukee can play. Milwaukee was missing nobody. They can't you even blame it on injury when a team beats you by 41 points.
They ain't got no excuses. Not a
I'm
one
41.
on a
They
silver
had,
platter. Here go your
I
tail.
mean, right, right. I don't. I just don't see you really being able to psychologically come back from that. I mean, 20-point butt whooping. You can say, "Oh, wait till I play them again. Wait till I play them again." We was off. We were off. Wait till we play them again. But when they beat you by 41, remember how you used to be on the court when you play sandlot basketball and you it's 3 against 3, and these guys beat you like 12 nothing.
I ain't never been to
And
that
it,
point, but I'm just saying.
I haven't either, but I'm just
I'm
saying
just, I'll
I
say
have seen that before. I mean, somebody beat you 12 nothing, and then you have nerves enough to say, "I got ups."
I got to
Why?
run it
Why
back.
do you have ups? I mean,
Like man, get a new
uh,
squad or something at that point.
get it. Don't come back over here with that squad. It's no. That's how I look at that butt whooping. That's how I look at that, and that's why us together we finna put together a show for the next into the NBA finals. We're gonna put together a show. Um, the NBA draft. I mean, I'm sorry, NBA playoff series is going to be what we're talking about for the duration, other than the special event with the draft. So everybody just buckle in, and all those people sending me these messages in my messenger on social media. When you gonna talk about NBA? When you gonna talk about NBA? Well, here it is. We're gonna talk about NBA from here on out. Um, but you got to feel proud for the Tigers, huh?
Oh
You got
yeah,
to feel proud.
absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing Bayou Barbie do her thing
Right. And that's another thing I got to
on
say
the
about
big
LSU.
show.
That squad, there's some cute girls, though. I mean, I got to give them, they got the looks and they got the ability. I mean, that's kind of like icing on the cake right there, right? You gotta give them credit, man. They put together a good squad, 9 new players, and then they go to the national championship. That's amazing coaching. That's amazing camaraderie. They had to get camaraderie real fast. I really like that. Last words.
Mama say, Mama Sama Sakusa.
For those of y'all who don't understand, that's want to be starting something with Michael Jackson. I'm just saying. But my last words are simple, guys. For those who are watching or who are going to watch, yes, we are still looking for contribution. We have our eyes set on this camera, and this camera will allow my producer, the one that you've seen over there, to be able to do magical things with that camera. The camera is over $1,000. Yes, I looked at a pawn shop to see if I can get it cheaper, and I did find one that was actually pretty good. Sorry about the nets. That was actually pretty good, but it didn't have I'm sorry, it doesn't have the technology we need. Technology keeps changing every single day. Then this technology that this camera has can do amazing things. I'm talking about you would have looking at our podcast, you would have like a movie feel. So, and also, we're trying to get our location. As you can see, I broadcast from a home, I broadcast from a park, I broadcast from a coffee shop, I broadcast from the library. We want our central location because that's when the creativity starts. We need you guys' help. Let's Talk Sports needs your help. Anything will help. And if you can't financially help us, like it and share it. We're everywhere now. And remember, I'm working hard to get us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We're trying to get everywhere. We're gonna keep doing this thing. But with that being said, this is Richard. That's Rabbit, Rashard. This is Let's Talk Sports. Peace. We out.